Hi friends, and welcome to our Cypress Pillar Healing Arts YouTube channel. This is Misha, and today I am reviewing the Dirt Gems deck. Now, this is a plant oracle deck and a guidebook that was created as a beautiful collaboration between two souls. One is Louise Burdett, who is a herbalist and a sex educator and a wonderful person who understands the plants. And then Granger, who is the artist that did the layout and the design and all the artwork for the deck. This deck is one that was originally created in 2019, and the version I will be showing you today is the second printing, which was released in 2021. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the deck. It comes in a nice little box with the top and bottom, super easy to work with. I love when the decks have these little details like additional imagery inside. The backs of, oh, that's super pretty. There's some more. The backs of the deck are pretty neutral in the sense that it doesn't matter which way you turn them, you will not be able to tell which way is up and which way is down. And it has, my deck has this really pretty gold edging. I believe they've done another version that has bronze edging. So you may not be able to pick which you want, but I really don't care because I think the deck is awesome. And for me personally, it doesn't matter what color the edges are. The cardstock is nice and sturdy, and it's the size of a standard tarot or oracle deck, and it's got that nice matte so that when you are looking at the deck, if there's light, you can see that there's no glare, no reflection, and it is quite lovely to be able to work with. Now, I'll take you through the cards and show you some of the different ones that we have in the deck to give you an idea of the beauty of this neat little oracle deck. So this is an unusual oracle deck in that it actually has suits. Most oracle decks are not divided in that way. They typically just all follow one theme, which this one does. It's all about plants and working with them as allies and really what the messages the plants have to tell us. But the artists divided, and the creators of this deck divided this deck into 4 different suits so that you would be able to further understand the correspondences and the energetics of the plant. So you can see here, the first suit is fire. And what I love about this deck is the creators didn't just call this fire, they called it a blaze, which is such a great way to express fire. And if you check out the entire collection of cards in this deck, everything has that warm red, orangey color. Now, if you are a stickler for deck art, it might bother you that every once in a while there's a card mixed in that has a background that is all one color or a different color. I personally think that the art in this deck is so unique that it fits in well. It doesn't bother me that like this card has a red and black deck or background, whereas this one is more of a red mixed in with other colors and this one is more brown. I think it really fits the energy and the overall vibe of this deck quite nicely. Next, after a blaze, we have a float, and as you might imagine, that is water. So here again, you'll find some of the decks have that dark black, or some of the cards rather have that dark black background with blue as an overall, ooh, that's a lovely one, with blue as an overall color. And then we have a couple that have a more blue background. After a float and the element of water, we have a drift in the element of air. And just to sort of show you, the booklet, it's really neat because they have the suit with all of the plants that are in that suit, and then they also include all of the scientific names for the plants included in that as well, which I think is a really nice touch so that you can learn more about that if you'd like to later. And of course we have the elements, the energetic signatures, the weather, metal, emotion. So this is a great deck if you want to get into some more of the kind of witchy correspondences or traditional lore. I shouldn't limit it to witchiness, but just the correspondences that we would often find in with the plant magic in particular. So I like this deck that it includes that, because a lot of the plant decks that are more focused on the herbalism side of things talk about the value of the plant, but they might not necessarily talk about the correspondences. They'll talk about the use of the plant in different traditions and how it can be worked with medicinally, but they might not talk about those more magical aspects. So this is a great deck if you've been wanting to dive more into that. And then we have our final suit of Amidst. Now, Amidst is the suit of Earth, and you might have noticed that afloat, the water suit, the cards were all blue with white and black. With Adrift, the air suit, the cards were black and white almost exclusively. And then here with Amidst, the cards are all rainbow colors. So that is the suit association for the cards that are in that Earth suit. The deck itself is 44 cards, and it comes with a really nice guidebook. It is black and white, which doesn't bother me one bit because I love the fact that it has the card image here as well as information about the card. So you'll find the plant's common name, which for here we have bone set, and then the Latin name as well. And then each of these cards has I guess you could call it a theme or a message. So for instance, with Damiana, we have Tingle Maker. I love it. And this herbalist really knows their stuff. I so appreciate the way that these plants have been written about, spoken about here in this booklet. Just absolutely speaks to the fact that the writer really understood the plants well, their action, and not just their action, but their lore magically as well. The book is divided up into the suits, which makes it really nice. You can just flip to the card that you're working with. And if you're not sure which suit you're working in, at the bottom of the suit, or excuse me, at the bottom of the card, it has the symbol for the suit and it's in the color. So here we've got a card from the Earth, from the Amidst, I can't say that word. Amidst. Wow, nope, not going to be able to say it today. So sorry, YouTube viewers, that I am not able to speak properly today. But you can see that is the code for which suit you're working with. So as I showed you the suits before, you already got a little bit of an idea of these gorgeous cards, but I will go through and show you some more. And one of the things that I like, I'll give you a closer look at them, is the fact that they always have the image of the plant included somewhere on the card. So here we have our arnica. So sometimes it's large and it's predominant, and other times it's a little bit smaller. Like it might be a little bit like here with the calendula, the plant image is a little bit smaller and not as much of a focal point. But I don't find that, for me anyway, I actually really like that because I feel like there is a lot happening in the cards that really give me some insight into what each of these plants would be able to do in terms of actions and their messaging as well. What I particularly enjoy about this deck is the cards are not super literal. They have a very dreamlike quality to them. I love this mimosa card. They're gorgeous and they're artistic and they have this beautiful, brilliant, cheery color, but the artwork of it keeps it feeling very, very much, oh wow, the passion flower. Yeah, the artwork keeps it feeling very dreamy and ethereal. And when I look at these cards, I'm reminded of the messages that I receive from the plants when I sit and talk with them, when I sit and spend time with them. Gorgeous one for Elder. Look at that. And so, oh wow, Ella Campaign, the lungs of the world, right? Oh, beautiful. And so I think that for people who are plant lovers, if you're an herbalist and you're familiar with the meanings of the plants, like in terms of the traditional uses or the medicinal uses, this might be a really great deck for you because it might give you an opportunity to connect to them on a more ethereal level, perhaps a more magical level. If you're a plant lover, I think you'll love this deck just because it's absolutely gorgeous. And it really gives us a little bit of a different way to view the plants than perhaps, oh, I love that seaweed, than perhaps we would look at in other types of deck where perhaps it's just the picture of the plant and then nothing else. This really gives us some different imagery to correspond to each plant. I'll kind of skip ahead a little bit. I also really love that this deck, see if I can find one. Where are you? This deck does include, Damiana is a favorite. This deck does include some poisonous plants as well. So you saw aconite a little bit earlier. Here's Datura. And the authors write about these plants in a way that doesn't make them scary, but instead truly portrays what amazing allies they can be. So just a really, really amazing deck overall. I know I say that a lot. You know, I typically don't review decks I don't like. So sorry, you're just going to have to deal with me saying this is awesome, because it really is. But again, like here with this barberry, this is imagery that if you were to ask someone to talk to you about this plant, you would probably get the actions and the medicine of it. But this is reaching out to more the spiritual medicine. And I think that that is something that we don't often see in oracle decks. And it's a really, really beautiful part of this oracle deck.